let me have a Diablo sandwich, a Dr. Pepper. Make it fast. I'm in a damn hurry.
One Diablo coming up. Hello folks, and welcome to the OceanState Cuisine, where in today's recipe we're going to be making a open face sloppy Joe and cheese Diablo. This is a dish that's going to satisfy everyone. So first, let's go over some of the ingredients that we're going to be using in today's dish. So to the far right in the front, I have a half of a sub roll. And then next to that, I have one hamburger patty. This is probably about an 8-ounce patty. And then under that, I got some hot Italian sausage, ground. Because this Diablo is going to have a little bit of a kick. And then behind the sausage, we have a red onion. And then next to the red onion, I have some sriracha hot sauce. And then next to the sauce, we have 2 peppers. I'm using a yellow and a red. It just gives the dish a nice look. Then in the back, I have a bottle of Worcestershire. And then next to that, I have some minced garlic. Then I have some barbecue sauce. I'm using Sweet Baby Ray's. And then next to that, some tomato ketchup. There is also going to be some other ingredients I'm going to be using in today's dish that I'll show you guys as we go through the video. One of it being some red wine. So let's get cooking. Alright, so first I'm going to cut up the vegetables. And I'm not making a lot of this because it's only for me. So I'm just using like a little piece of the onion here that we see. Now, the reason why I'm not dicing these up is because I'm going to be using an electric small food chopper. And then for the peppers, I'm using about 1/4 of a piece from each one. I don't like to overpower it with too many peppers. And I like the color contrast of using the yellow and the red. But you can use whatever peppers you want to use right here. And then of course I'm going to clean out the peppers, the seeds, the membranes, and I'm going to rinse it underneath some cold water. Now in the electric chopper, and I love this thing, I'm going to chop up the peppers and then eventually chop up the onion. And I'm chopping these to like a medium to a fine chop. And then we have all of our vegetables all chopped and ready to go. So in a skillet, and I got this on about a medium heat, that moisture you see right there along the edge, that's just some water. Now I just added some butter. And we're going to let the butter melt down. And again, you don't need to add any water to this. That was just left in there after I got done cleaning this. As I set off my fire alarm. Actually, I didn't set off the fire alarm. But I guess that I had some residue or something left on the burner. So then we see here I'm just swirling around the butter, just coating the whole pan. And then next I'm going to hit this with some olive oil. And we want to heat this up pretty good when we start adding the meat to it. So I'm going to raise the temperature just a bit, almost to like a medium high. But don't go too high because you don't want to burn the oils. And now I'm just adding the meat to the pan now. And we're going to let this cook up. And again, I only used about 8 ounces of the ground beef, and then about the same amount when it comes to the ground sausage. If you're making this for like a family of 4, I would recommend maybe 1 pound of each. So 1 pound of the hamburger meat plus 1 pound of the sausage. Plus whatever's left over freezes up really well. And then next I'm going to hit this with some salt and then some black pepper. And then with my big stainless steel salad fork, yeah, I love this thing when it comes to breaking up meat. Now, as this cooks more, it's gonna break down even easier. Now you may be thinking to yourself, man, what are you doing? You're using a metal fork and a Teflon pan. This is a stoneware pan. Stoneware has a stronger surface to it than Teflon, so it doesn't flake or anything like that. It can still get a little scuffed up, but the metal utensils are actually fine in a stoneware pan. And they're really great for non-stick. I got some links down in the description panel of today's video that will take you to Amazon where you could order a set of these. So now next I'm going to start adding the peppers and the onion to this. If you notice, I'm actually adding salt to the pepper and the onion on the plate, not inside the pan, because I've already got enough salt on the meat. And the reason why I put it back on the counter is because I added some black pepper to it. Now I'm just going to add this to the meat and fold it in. Well, it's starting to look like Sloppy Joe, but you guys haven't seen nothing yet. Now it's time to really start seasoning this. So now in goes about 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. So that'd be about 3 to 4 cloves if you're using clove garlic. You gotta have garlic when it comes to meat. Then we're gonna mix this all together. And now I'm gonna turn up the heat a bit. I'm gonna put it on almost a medium high. So now what I'm gonna do here is that I'm gonna actually taste some of this because I'm using hot sausage. So if it's too hot, I'm going to skip the hot sauce or the sriracha sauce. Again, you can use hot sauce also. So this is something that you want to test or taste to see what kind of adjustments it needs. Now this is the reason why I turn the heat up to about a medium high, because now I'm going to add some red wine to this. And I added, for this amount of meat, about a half a cup. Now you want to cook off the wine. It's going to make it taste a lot better. But plus we're also going to be simmering this for a good couple of minutes a little bit later. Now I'm going to stir in the wine. And now I'm going to add the Worcestershire sauce. Or Worcestershire, or whatever we call this thing. And I added maybe about a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half. Then we want to stir this in really good. So I decided to add some heat to mine because it wasn't that hot, so I'm going to add some of this sriracha sauce. Again, you can use hot sauce. And then after a minute or two, you may want to taste it to see if you want to add more heat or not. And again, I'm going to blend this well. So I used about a half of a teaspoon of the hot sauce. And then we could always add some more later on. Then I decided that I'm going to add some chili powder to this. This will give it a nice kick. You know, give it some nice earthy tones. Yeah, it'll be good. So I'm going to add some chili powder. And I would say about a teaspoon. That's also going to add some heat to this too. I'm going to give this a good stir, and I'm going to lower the heat again to about a medium. Alright, now it's time to make this into a Sloppy Joe. Now when a lot of people make this, they'll use brown sugar. But I really like the barbecue sauce. It's going to add the sweetness, and it's going to add other flavors to this overall dish. And I added, I would say, maybe 2 tablespoons to maybe 3 tablespoons. And then I added 3 tablespoons of tomato ketchup. Now, if you don't want yours quite as sweet, you could always reduce the amounts. Now, if you noticed, I didn't drain this. Those flavors are gold. That's what's really going to make this a great dish, because I'm going to simmer this for a good couple of minutes, which is going to help all this firm up and really get all those flavors mingled. Because after all, we also had wine in there, and I don't want to drain off the wine. And that's basically it, folks, when it comes to putting together this awesome sauce. Now we're going to let this simmer, and so I lowered the heat down to like low on my stove. I covered it with this splatter screen, and I'm going to let this go for about 15 to 20 minutes. Probably more like 15. And this is really going to pull all those flavors together and make this taste awesome. You want to check it every now and then. If it starts to get too thick, you could always add a little bit of water to it. Okay, so after about 15 minutes has passed and it's looking perfect. This is what we're looking for, and this is now pretty much done. So we can see the consistency that I cooked this to. Now what I'm going to do is rinse out this pan, and I'm going to clean it, and then we're going to start toasting our bread. So in my case, I'm using a heel or a half of a sub roll. You could use whatever kind of bread you have. So I'm just going to add some butter to it, put it in the pan, and I'm just going to cook it until it gets a nice golden brown. Now also we're going to be placing this later on in the oven, but I'm doing this so that the bread actually gets a nice crisp to it. So I'm not going by any time here. I'm just flipping it over, checking it, until it looks a nice golden brown. Once it's done, we're going to flip it over, and now I'm going to cook the other side. The bottom side, I'm not going to cook that long. I'm not really looking for that golden brown. I just want to firm it up a bit, because again, we are going to be putting this in the oven. And then next I'm adding a slice of American cheese to this. You can use whatever kind of cheese you like, provolone, cheddar, but I like using American for this. And again, because we are placing this in the oven, we're not looking to actually melt the cheese. Once the bottom has some color, the bottom of the bread, we can now shut this off. So now next, it's time to put this all together and get it in the oven. So we want to preheat our oven now, and I think I cooked this on about 360 to about 375. And that's Fahrenheit. And now on the counter, we're going to start adding the meat to this, and then I'm going to top it off with some cheddar cheese mix. So yeah, this is going to be a pretty cheesy, delicious dish. And I apologize for the lighting here. The sun outside was so bright it kind of messed it up a bit. It actually made it look like I have no lights on, but I do. The cheddar mix that I'm using is actually made by Taco Bell, and they sell it in most supermarkets now. I find their mix to be excellent. A lot of the other commercial blends, it doesn't taste that good to me. So this is a combination of cheddar, some mozzarella. It's a really nice blend. And now I'm just going to garnish it and top it with some fresh chopped parsley. Now we're ready to place this in the oven. Now I'm not really going to give you guys a specific time to cook this for, because it depends on the temperature that you're cooking it at. Again, I cooked mine at about 365 Fahrenheit. Probably took around 10 minutes, but you want to mainly go by how it looks. If the cheese is all melted, it's got a nice brownness to it, we know what French bread pizza should look like. That's basically the same when it comes to this. Once yours is all done cooking, this is what the final product looks like, and then I served it with some chips on the side. And let me tell you something, folks, this is fantastic. This tastes so good, your kids would love it. So that's my version of a Diablo Sloppy Joe Open Face. And thanks again for watching OceanState Cuisine. And you guys have some great eats today, and we'll catch you the next time. Take care. Bye-bye.